Tonight, live from Cambridge University, it's the Invisible Ray.
Hello, my name's Tarquin Fauntleroy, and tonight I'm very pleased to introduce to you all at Cambridge tonight the working class hero and musical critic who specializes in the Beatles will talk to us tonight and speak to us of the disastrous Apple Core story from start to finish. And I'm very pleased to welcome for you all tonight, Invisible Ray! Thank you, my distinguished lords, ladies, and Lord Fauntleroys. It's it's a great honour for me to be here tonight. This is the pinnacle of my achievements in my working class life. You know, I'm not used to seeing such people as yourselves. I mean, you've got about one chromosome between the 500 of you. Anyway, listen, I've got 83 slides to get through tonight. So this is a lecture. I am Professor Invisible Ray tonight for your entertainment and for your education. Most wannabe. That's a good word. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to educate you people, and that's not a Black Lives Matter phrase. This is me being like the professor. You remember Corky the cat? That's me. Anyway, let's get through these 83 slides, and I will visualize what I can. So let's go. The Beatles on Apple. The solo Beatles on the Apple label, 1968 to 1975. So let's go. These are my words, by the way. The story of Apple. This is an introduction. After the death of Brian Epstein in 1967, the Beatles lost cohesion as a band. They were unsuitable as businessmen and increasingly handed the workload to former friends who were incapable of managing such a big act. Of the many mistakes made during this period was the announcement of Apple Corps, which was to be the multi-armed, very own Beatles company, which would give a start to fresh musical talent, open clothes stores, as well as numerous other unrealised projects. This was, of course, a tax dodge, which was very badly planned. The musical talent from the new signings was a busted flush, and the company had effectively ceased by 1976. So there it is in a nutshell. That's your story of your Apple, a disaster. But anyway, we're here today to concentrate on something else. So let's move on to the next slide. The solo Beatles on Apple. That's what we're here for today. Between 1968 and 1975, the Beatles, as individual performers, released 33 albums on the Apple label. Right. I have attempted to locate a regular Apple label for each release because, you know, sometimes, like Band on the Run, it's just photos of them, and you know, they did that a lot. Really annoying shit. I like the Apple. I want to see the Apple. I don't want to see them cunts. So I've searched the world. I've searched the world to find you an Apple alternative. But here we go. I'll continue with my my lecture. I have attempted to locate a regular Apple label for each release. I failed with 2 albums. This is the story of the UK releases, and it's important that you know that, right? The UK releases. Foreign Apple labels are only included when required. and you'll find out what I'm talking about as we continue. Thank you very much. Of the 33 albums in question, 19 have been awarded the Total Shit badge. Let us find out who the serious offenders are. Let's go. Album number 1 was George Harrison. Oh, by the way, we're not including Beatles albums here. There's only about 5 or 6 of them. If you include the compilations, not a lot, 7 or 8, and they're well documented. We're talking about solo Beatles here, as I've already said. So the first one is Wonderwall music from 1968. And as you can see, many of these will get a badge, and they're not even worth talking about. Really not worth talking about. So I'm going to zip through them as quickly as I can, because this has to finish at some point, and I don't want to talk bollocks about bollocks. So if you see the total shit, I might not even talk about it very much, but we're going to zip on. By the way, just to let you know, this was nothing to do with George Harrison. It's a bunch of Paki musicians doing Indian music, and they obviously went up to George and said, hey, listen, you're a Beatle, you're a name, we'll sell some copies if you say it's your music. Yeah, make some money? Okay, so there you go, total shit. And there we are. Oh, sorry, let's go back. Oh, no, it's all right, no, it's all right. Now we're on to the Two Virgins, very controversial. You never want to listen to this, it's just a bunch of screaming, it's bullshit, as we know. And now we're on to more bullshit. It's another ego trip from John and Yoko. More screaming, more yelling, more bullshit. Okay, electronic sound. It's like you've just bought an organ, and your 3-year-old son has got himself, and he started like banging away on the keys. That's what it sounds like. Yeah. Great start for Apple. Great start. Brilliant. We're in the first year, by the way. Okay, there we are. John and Yoko, wedding album. Yeah, more screaming, more yelling, more bullshit. It's, I think the Beatles were original in the fact that they totally ripped off everybody with shit like this, because some people did go out and buy it, and sadly people are buying it today because they feel they have to. It's part of the collection, isn't it? There we go. Live Peace in Toronto, live shit in Toronto. Sentimental Journey. This is absolute bullshit. It wouldn't even get on the racks in Woolworth. It's so bad. It's fucking awful. McCartney. Well, this doesn't get a total shit badge. I think this is the first one that hasn't. And the only reason is because you haven't got Linda on backing. And I know it's a lazy ass, kind of self-indulgent trip of getting rid of some rejected Beatles songs. But it works to a certain degree, but it's a rough take. It's a rough take. Here we go. I think this is the next one. It's called Boot Coops of Blues, and it hasn't got a shit award, but it's not good. Never listened to it. I bought it in 1982, I think, and second hand, of course. Good copy. Didn't mind the cover, liked the colours, but never listened to it all the way through. Never wanted to. Never will do. So you could call it shit, but I'm not going to be that cruel, because I'm not going to be real bastard about things. Okay, there we are. Now all things must pass. No, I'm not going to fucking talk about Bobby Whitlock. Everything I need to say about this bullshit has been said before. Anyway, let's have a look at the artwork. 1, 2, 3. And the third album, of course, is total shit. There you go. So it makes a mockery of a double album, doesn't it? Because you're actually paying for the third album. You know, rubbish. Plastic Ono Band, miserable. It's a miserable affair. It didn't get very high in the charts, and that just went to show the interest in John Lennon at the time. You know, you forget, you will say, oh, John Lennon, God. Oh, yeah, wonderful John Lennon. Well, it's sort of 50-50 at the moment because that woman is the N-word of the world. Well, I'll talk about that in a minute. But it's coming up again. You know, it will maybe seriously and fatally destroy John Lennon. We don't know yet. But anyway, tolerable album. All right. And there we are. We've got a Norway copy there because of this horrible John face. There you go. Ram. Like it and hate it at the same time. I can't call it shit though. You know what I mean? Imagine, very overrated, a miserable fucking. You know, everything's a bit cheap on it. The Phil Spector production's cheap. The orchestra's cheap. The mixing's awful. It's totally overrated because of the song, really, isn't it? Yeah. And here we are. We've got an Imagine from Greece, and we're going to get some help off Greece later on, because we will what was it? Trawl the world for your Apple. Okay, wildlife, total shit. Everyone's talking about this at the moment, obviously, and it's totally awful. It is absolutely. You wouldn't even accept that as a practice session. If you heard Linda's voice, you'd say, "Oh my God, fucking get that out of here!" Everyone would be laughing, and yet he gets. And people are talking about it today, saying, "Oh yes, I love this. I love it." Fuck off. And there we are. We got a lovely Greece copy there. Here we are. Oh, concert for Bangladesh. Oh, fucking shit. What a miserable fucking, oh, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. What about you go and fucking stick a radish up your arse, you beardy prick? I mean, I don't mind people lecturing me if they're intellectual, if they've got fucking qualifications to do that. But when it's a fucking half-wit like George Harrison, no thanks, and his fucking half-baked mates, no. You know what I mean? It must have been the worst concert ever. And packy music as well. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'll come to see rock and roll tonight and you get half hour of that. No fucking thanks. I know Kenny Loggins would say, oh, yes, well, I would have been so happy to be there. Fuck off, Kenny Loggins. Anyway, so that was the first album I couldn't get on Apple. I couldn't. It's just that ugly little fucking skinny bastard there. Sorry. Couldn't do it. Okay, sometime in New York City. Oh, this is horrible. Oh, hang on, yeah, this is horrible. And there we are, that revolting label there. Thank God, Greece has come to the rescue again with these Apple version of New York City. Less said about that the album, the better, really. Okay, Red Rose Speedway. It's tolerable, I suppose, compared to what we've seen already. Okay, there we are. It's horrible, and I think it's the first one that hasn't even featured an apple. It's very selfish from McCartney. And there, but where we are, we've got a Chile version. I had to go all the way to Chile for this one, over the fucking Andes to get you this one. Yeah, there we are. Material World, one of my worstest albums I've ever heard. Fuck it, total shit, without a doubt. There we are. He's stolen these awful pictures from the Bagla Gita without any fucking copyright. Awful picture of a limo on the B-side there. Horrible. But luckily we got a copy from India because copyright, you know. And now we're at Mind Games. Just horrible album. Really horrible. It is so bland. It's so shit. Oh, John Lennon was the greatest. No, you could tell he'd lost his direction, but he didn't know what he was talking about. He didn't know what he was singing about. It was rubbish, total rubbish. Ringo, well, I'm not calling this total rubbish because you've got all your people there. It doesn't mean it's any better or any worse, but I like the song You're 16, so I can get away with it. There we are, and there's a lovely India copy there again to the rescue. Band on the Run, we love it. We love Band on the Run. And there's your English label. And we're going to Sweden for the Apple label. Thank you, Sweden. Walls and Bridges, hate it. It's sort of John Lennon copy paste. Nothing good about it. Really isn't. Don't like it. And there we are, luckily on Apple. Good Night Vienna, Ringo, yeah. Oh, and bit jazzy, this label from England, but we're going to go on to this wonderful Peru copy. So I've gone over the Andes again. Fucking hell, I didn't even know they had record players in Peru. Okay, now we've got another shit album, Dark Horse. Awful. I remember a wobble board involved in this fucking album. It was fucking awful. Okay, and there's even more self-fucking-centered, no Apple involved here. Hideous pictures of him and his dirty fucking whore Mexican. And luckily we've got one from Mozambique here. I had to look everywhere for this fucker. But when I say Mozambique, it's actually Portuguese East Africa. Okay, now we're on Rock and Roll, which is absolutely shit. John Lennon's last album on Apple, I believe. No, it's not. Yeah, shit. Venus and Mars, which was actually on the Capitol label in the UK. But what I'm doing here is I found an Apple copy, so I'm going to show you. It's from Uruguay. Probably a very rare one. Okay, so we're moving on. So Paul McCartney's contract's finished. Now we're on Extra Texture, which was George's final original throw of the dice here. And as usual, he has failed to live up to any expectations whatsoever. Released a whole bunch of cheap crap done in his cheap studio with his cheap friends. And it sounds like that. Probably rejected, but no, it wasn't actually, because Apple had to go through with this bullshit. But there you go, that's Extra Texture for you, a real low point. And I couldn't find a proper Apple version of this, which I couldn't give a fuck. Okay, now we're on to compilation here. John Lennon's contract's finished, so we're releasing the best of, which made a big mistake, not at the time probably, of Woman Is the End of the World on there. But it's a strange compilation. But there we are. And now we've got another compilation. And this was the very last Apple release. It is Blast from the Past by Ringo, which I don't mind. And it's got a lovely red apple. There you go. And now we've got another bonus. And it's the best of George Harrison. George Harrison. Well, they must have just got rid of Apple by this point. It was gone. But I did find an Apple, because this one come out on Parlophone before his contract ended, and it is here. Oh, sorry, there it is, and it is from Peru again. I think we've had Peru already. Yeah, Uruguay, something like that. All South America, isn't it? It's all in the mountains. So yeah, there you go. That's it. That's the end of the story. And here we are. We're just going to say this one thing here: the solo Beatles. After Apple, Paul McCartney signed to Capitol EMI in 1975. John Lennon's EMI contract expired in 1975. He signed with minor label Geffen before his death in 1980. George Harrison was dropped by EMI, then A&M, before being dumped on Warner Brothers. Ringo Starr struggled through a Polydor contract until he was dumped in 1981. Thank you very much and good night. Thank you, Cambridge University. Goodbye, everybody.